guys, this is part 2 to our landscape video. I just want to make sure that you realize that you have to complete part 1 before you move on to part 2. So let's go. Okay, so we're going to start on the patterns on our landscape. Now there's 2 different ways to do this. One of them is to try to have patterns that resemble the colors of, say, like a field or trees or a sky. And then the second one is just to do whatever colors you choose. All right, so I'm going to start working with green because it is my hill. And for this, we're just going to do really simple line patterns. You can use one type of line for the whole thing. You can mix and match. So we're going to show you just both types. All right, so maybe on this one, I want to come up and down. So this is kind of like a slightly curved zigzag. And when you draw your pattern, you want to make sure it goes all the way from the top to the bottom and that you fill in the space. And see how I didn't fill it in over here? I'm going to turn my page a little bit and go all the way up like it does exist. Okay. And then I'm going to just draw another one right on the inside. And I have this extra space and I also want to fill it in. So I'm just going to fill it in with horizontal lines. So this is how you can use 2 different lines to make a pattern, or you can even just use one type of line to make a pattern. So let me show you how that would work too. So say, for example, on this one, I would like to do just straight zigzag lines. And then you would have to pretend. Now, if you need, it's hard for you to pretend where that goes, just throw an extra sheet of paper underneath it. And this would be like continuing, and this would come down, and then it would come all the way up, and you'd only have that little piece. Okay? Then this is really boring, so I want to add a little bit to it. So I'm actually just going to keep repeating my zigzag, or what would be my zigzag. And then you're just going to continue patterns and patterns and patterns on the hills. All right, once your hills are done, you want to work on your trees. Now, what's really fun about trees is you can make them look like seasons if you would like to. So I'm going to add, tree colors, which to me are like red, yellows, oranges, greens. So say, for example, on this tree, and I'm going to turn my page upside down because I like to draw lines towards me. So I'm going to pretend like there's like a dot right here, and then I'm just going to go around in a curve. Just curve these lines. And then on the inside of this pattern, maybe I do just a zigzag in red. And then on the other lines, I can do a diagonal line in yellow. Oh, that's really hard to see. Maybe we'll switch to a orange. So I'll go right back on top of this line with orange instead so you can see it better. Then you also want to do the tree trunk. And so I have a lighter brown right here, so I'm actually going to use a darker brown. And next, you want to finish all of your trees. Next, you want to work on your house. So I'm actually going to do like a brick pattern on my house. And then I'm going to do my roof. And the door. All right, once you have your foreground done, your hills, and your trees and your house, you're going to start working on this background, which is your sky. So a few things we want to do. We want to add some clouds, and we want to add some kind of character to our sun. So I'm going to do sun rays all the way out. And we're going to use 1-point perspective again. And the reason we didn't do this together at the same time is because it gets really confusing having all these extra lines. So first things first, you want to add some clouds. So I personally am a fan of a straight bottom cloud, and then they're pretty fluffy. And this one's just going to go off the page. I'm going to add another one over here. And it can go back down tiny. And I'm going to add one more, maybe on this side, maybe a little lower. So it's just a partial cloud like that. Okay. And then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add my 1-point perspective to my background. And I'm going to put my dot right in the middle of my sun like this. What I don't want it to do is I don't want to draw my sun. So I'm going to take my ruler. And again, remember all of your lines come from this point. I'm going to go up, move it over. And these lines I want to be skinnier than the ones on the bottom. Okay. So I'm going to go back like this and up. I'm going to repeat this all the way until it's done. Just a few few pointers that I failed to mention is that you want to make sure that you're drawing around, like on the behind part of your cloud. So you just draw and skip over it and then pick it up. Same with your trees. You'll draw, skip over your tree, pick it up, and continue. Once you have all your lines drawn, they look good, then you'll go back and you'll Sharpie all of these lines as well. I am a huge fan of pulling your lines towards you. So next we're going to want to work on the sun, and you're going to start with a pattern on the inside of the sun, and I'm just going to pick orange and yellow. And so you would pick some type of pattern. Now it can be whatever pattern you choose. Okay. Now as we do our patterns in our sun rays, because there's so many and they're so tiny, I would, pick a couple patterns and just play repeat. But when you repeat those patterns, they need to be in a pattern. So say, for example, in your sun rays, you did stripes and then zigzags and curved lines. So it'd be like stripes, zigzag, curved line, stripes, zigzag, curved line, stripes, and you could do it like red, yellow, orange, red, yellow, orange, or you could mix it up. So I have a few more extra colors because my set of thin markers was a little bit bigger. So I'm going to just pick, I'm going to start with orange, and I'm going to start right in the middle. So I'm going to pick a type of design that I like. And you don't want these designs to be really complex either. Okay. And then pick another color. And you will continue this for your whole sky. Now, if you do yellow, I just want you to realize that yellow is a color that is hard to see. So just be cautious of that when you're doing your designs. Okay. And then you're going to continue, and you're going to continue with the whole sky. So I am going to just stick with these three colors, and I'm just going to repeat the same design again and over until it's completely full. Okay. Now say you mess up and you're like, oh man, I picked the wrong design or wrong color. Nobody cares. Nobody's going to notice. Just roll on with it. Unless it's yellow, then you can always cover on top of that. Okay. And lastly, you need to do something in your clouds. And this is the final product. I really hope you enjoyed doing your pattern land landscape, and I look forward to our next project.